Hello, thank you for coming to the interview. So your your sister lived right across the street from you. You're saying in Virginia, in an area where was with apartments, and you said that you can see from your balcony. You can see your sister's apartment plus the apartment of Anna Kotatis, who calls herself Annie Rhoads now, and then Ford, whatever. Did you know the rest of the family and all that? Did you meet them from the very first time they came to Virginia? What do
I,
you know about them? What do you remember
well,
about
first
them?
off, the document you showed me that, looks like forgery took place in Greece makes all the sense in the world to what was going on in that apartment. There was a lot of cruel, debauch, disgusting things that my sister almost moved and took my niece with her. And my niece is all we have. And it was just disgusting what was going on. When they first moved here, they got the apartment, and George told everybody in the hallway that he has one daughter and she's coming with his wife to join him. This was Vula. Later we find out, of course, that she had 5 kids with another man, and she showed up with 3 children, and all this hysteria was happening. She, the money was in her savings. We don't know where she got it from. And of course, down the line, my niece and my sister picked up a lot of lies were taking place. Basically, we understood that she took off with this guy, George Katrinos, and her real husband, first of all, her maiden name is Kesoglous, and her real husband, Kotatis, the father of the 5 kids, including Anna, who, is pretending somebody, I don't know who she is. And basically, after everything calmed down, there was Antonio, Lucky, Santa, and Antonio ran away. He ran off. He told my niece that someone hit him. He hit him. I guess the stepfather hit him, and he had a problem with his ear, and he's going, eventually he went to his father in New York, and then it was Lucky's and Anna, and of course, within a month or 2, Lucky's was gone. But what happened between George and the little girl is more than any of the other things that I'm hearing about now. More disgusting and more low than anything I've heard any woman go through. We thought she was forced to have sex with George. I mean, one time I was looking through the curtains and I saw George humping like a couch, and then there was this little girl there, 6 years old, 7 years old. He's on her face, and she's throwing up. He's loading her mouth with whatever you want to. I'm not going to get graphic about it. Already did, and I had to say this because that's how disgusting it was. She wasn't resisting. She was good. I don't know how he convinced this little girl to go along with him. And this went on for years and years, at least a decade. And then finally one day, there was some sort of disputes, and the mother took the daughter and they took off like they did to her biological father. And I heard from him that they ran off to I think New Jersey. But there was other things that were going on. But this little girl was not only just abused by her stepfather. Before they went to New Jersey, there was this Uncle Ted, or Theodore, or whatever his name is. He was coming over, going at it with her. Plus his son, her cousin, John Kesoglous. And Ted Kesoglous and John Kesoglous, not together, but their own little private affair with her. And before they left, she had, while the mother was going down to get something from the car, like groceries, she would, go out with him and finish him off. And when she comes up, she would go out. And then there was this other kid, David, who was coming around, or Alfred, who's now dead from drugs or something. And he was into like witchcraft and all this crazy stuff. My niece was really scared of him. He was trying to get her to join some satanic church, and they were doing these rituals. And this was all going on before she went back to New Jersey in the mid-'80s, it was in the mid-'80s, which was literally like almost 10 years later. And when she came back, it was another story.
Did you hear any information about what happened before she came back, and did they share any news with you about it?
But one of the other things that happened that's just as bad, if not worse, than Anna, is that when her brother Gus visited, the uncles were here, and they went looking for him, and we don't know what happened, but later on was reported he was in a hit-and-run car accident. And based on the story I'm hearing now, they might be, I would suspect they tried to kill him because he was left with permanent brain damage in a psychiatric center. I mean, this has been years now, 30 years, 40 years ago. This is really sad if he's still there.
Did you hear any news while she was in New Jersey, those 1 year and a half at all? Did anybody tell you how she was doing or anything like that?
We have a friend, her name is Vula also, and she's Greek. And they have a couple of us who suspect they were prostitutes, really. And at least this one woman, Stella, I think her name was, and she was telling me that, they were going to arrange something with this man, George, and she was going to return. They were working something out. That's all I knew. Was your niece aware of any of the defamation going on while they were in New Jersey or anything like that? Did she hear anything about the situation there? My niece knows that Anna tried to get her brother Lakis to come to Virginia to set him up, to get him arrested somehow. She had guys that she was already tangled with to help her. For what, I don't know. He didn't do anything wrong. And later, she told my sister that it was really cruel what she was doing, calling around, asking girlfriends to pretend they were his ex-girlfriends, and trying to get police reports. I think they were trying to gather some kind of documents they can use in Greece to, from what I see, to take his inheritance. This all makes sense now. So what happened after she came back to Virginia from New Jersey? What did she tell you? What was going on? It's like I was saying before. My niece said they were defaming her brothers, that they were, basically, she was very involved with sleeping with her cousin John Kesoglous, her uncle, the other uncle, the neighbor. She was going crazy, really crazy with guys. Did the brother from the Navy ever visit, or would you ever see them around or anything like that? I've only seen this crazy David, who was into black magic and all that, around and sleeping with her, and he tried to sleep with my niece too, and it was a no-no. And then she tried to, I think mother went to Panama or something at some point when they got married. There was this guy, Richard, she was with, and they had all these properties. He was dealing with properties, and he ended up in jail for drug trafficking, cocaine, and stuff. His name is Richard Stoss. Yeah, he was a lot older than her. But this is like, remember that the stepfather is still sleeping with her while all this stuff is happening. Every day he was getting his fix and watching pornos. I can see all this, And just another thing I have to make clear with you, that my niece does not know. I was looking from my balcony. She has no idea how I knew this stuff. She thought I was psychic, and she was afraid. So she was telling me everything. I did it. I had no other choice to get the truth out of her, to convince her of this. But sometimes Anna tried to tell her not to speak to me, and at one point she did try coming to me to ask me questions, like if I read tarot cards or something like that, and I told her no. So anyway, one day I decided to play her in to see what she would tell me. So I said to her, I see some visions of several people. They're like, I think they're really close to you biologically, like brothers. And she said, oh no, she has half brothers, but they're insane or something crazy like that. And I said, well, they love you and they miss you, but you've been rejecting them, and you have this image of man that your mother has portrayed them to be violent or something like that. And I told her that it's not true. I think your mother just left her husband for another man, and he done nothing wrong to her. But she kept the conversation focused on her brothers, claiming they were half brothers, but they've been in jail. She made up all these crazy stories. And I told her, no, they love you. You've been misinformed by somebody. This could be something dark around you. God knows, and He's going to punish the people who've done wrong to them. As soon as I said God, she rolled her eyes like, that's not what she wanted. She wanted them to be punished. And then finally, George and the mother, Vula, they're going to head back to Greece, and they might not see them again. They'll stay in touch. There's Skype now and all this new technology. And so I said, oh, that's great. You can talk to your sons, I told her. And she was very scared. She didn't know I knew about her sons all these years. She was pretending she only had a few children. It's very, very sad what happened. That's basically what I know. And my niece's whole story is that all Anna wants to do is destroy the marriage of her oldest brother and try to ruin everything for her other brother. It all makes sense now that there was an inheritance and money. There was no other motive besides this. That's why it makes sense. It makes sense now. And now that I heard all this, I can look back and I'm a little relieved to understanding why the brother was in a hit-and-run accident, why the other brother ended up homeless, and who's benefiting out of all this. And I would claim that I would say that the U.S. Navy should be responsible for allowing these people to gain the assistance of local law enforcement while they had their own sister pretend they're victims. This seems to be what the case is. It's very sad.
Do you remember seeing any violence between George and anybody, any of the kids or anything like that?
Nothing like that. Just the stepfather getting his way and the horror stories about the brother in a hit-and-run accident left with permanent brain damage for the rest of his life. And of course the defamation that my niece. That's very dangerous because Anna is tangled with so many boys and use them to attack her own brothers, pretending they're half-brothers or whatever. A very, very disgusting, dark story. What kind of story you think there has to be a God to bring these people to justice? There's nothing that can make up for some of the things they've done.
Was Fula or George working at all, or were they always home?
George was working. I think they owned a restaurant. And Vula was kind of helping out there. So there was some kind of job. It wasn't a full-time job. There's a little Greek community thing going on. They would go to this church, somewhere Falls Church, Virginia, a Greek Orthodox church. And this was going on. Then they were off to Greece, and that was it. Anna's here right now.
What do you think she's doing right now at the moment?
And right now, as we're speaking, Anna's with some man by the name of Chris, right? And she has children. And this David person who used to come sleep with Anna also told my niece that Anna had aborted her second child while her mother was in Spain, or told her that because she was a boy. And sure enough, she kept the baby around. It's like a black magic sort of. She's into this weird stuff. They're into Satanism. And I'm surprised the CPS, Child Protective Services, have not gone after her yet. It is a very, very sick story. I'm surprised the media has not gone after it yet.
One of the brothers worked in television, and Greek authorities told him that they were going to publish this stuff, but he believes they're going to cause more than psychological drama. Do you think that Anna is the type of person who would suffer from the truth coming out?
Not at all. As sad as it sounds, over years of psychological abuse and problems that she went through, it turns out that she is made up of a person now that could care less about her own brothers, who she's been pretending are half-brothers, depicting them as people that could be targeted. And as far as my niece understood, as we speak, a lot of people say the reality is that there are other people involved in this campaign to defame the relatives. the real estate people that her ex-husband Richard Stoss was buying property with, a land contractor, I think his name is Kevin, knows the landlord of one of her brothers in New York because he sold land. They're all tied in together. So as much as some people say that Anna is ill, she stays in the room and all this stuff, really, she's made many three-way calls from what I understand to defame her relatives, along with her brother Antonio and his wife Karen in the Navy Police, using the assistance of local authorities and Anna, pretending that her relatives have committed abuse and it took advantage of women or something, and in order to keep them tied up and blindsided from finding out that they were entitled to an inheritance from their grandparents.
Why didn't you go to the police and tell them anything about Anna being violated or things like that? What happened? Your niece didn't do nothing?
My niece tried to talk to her about it, as I said before. But at that point, Anna was older and accepted it. She embraced this idea, and I think she rode mentally onto a dark side of herself and just, did whatever she had to do to keep that money coming in, or whatever she has going. This is the problem. I think basically they've done things that are criminal in this family from what I see, and there's no going back. They have to destroy everyone who knows now. That's what they're doing to their relatives. This should be investigated and stopped.
So what is she doing for a living right now? Is she working? What do you know? Have you talked to her? Has anybody stayed in touch with her?
Money stays as far away from her now as possible. She hears things through people. She sees her a few times and she will run away. She told me that last time I think she saw her was 2016. It's the same story. She stays inside, the windows shut and everything in the dark. Everyone thinks she's got some eye vision problems, and same old story. The kid's inside, locked up in the dark, talking to spirits, whatever. She told David in the past she's doing. This guy David is dead, by the way. But you have to remember something. This other man she was involved with, Richard Stoss, they had a lot of properties. He was like a real estate agent, but then he got caught with cocaine and mixed their drugs, so they lived a little rock and roll lifestyle going. There was something going on that she had her ways with most of these men as much as they thought they had their way with her. So, this now this all makes sense. The documents and her brother involved from the Navy, it would make sense. They should be investigated by the Navy. They're responsible for allowing this to go on.
Okay, thank you for the interview, and if Anna comes forward to contest you, you'll know.
You're very welcome. She can come forward whenever she wants. I'm more than glad to share evidence.